What is up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. If only Greg would stop moving around, then we might be able to get the show started. Because this is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom and become the rock star agent in your market. And man, we have a doozy of a show for you guys today. We're going to talk about some really ninja stuff that you can do on social media, including how our guest helped us get something like 7,000 plus likes on our Facebook page over the last 4 days alone. And we'll go into depth on how he did that and where you can find out more information on how to do that for yourself and all that good stuff. And then we'll talk about our weekends. There was a big UFC fight this weekend. I know Greg was all at Twitter. I'm sure we'll talk about that. And we actually got a chance to hang out in person. Greg and I did this weekend. And then we're going to take your questions both from some of the Facebook groups that we're a part of as well as live. Guys, so first of all, before I welcome in everybody, I just want to welcome the viewers. Make sure that you let us know in the comments where you are at. And just curious, what is your biggest limiting factor in your business right now? Whatever you feel like that is, put it down here in the comments. We want to talk about that later on in the show. But first of all, my compatriot, the co-pilot, my co-partner in all crimes, real estate and otherwise related, the junior grandmaster himself, Greg McDaniel. Greg, how are you?
What's up, Pimps a lot? Yeah, man. Great weekend. A lot of fun. Chilled with you, grabbed some wings and a beer, went to Chris Lockhead's house, hung out with him and his chickens, which is epically hilarious and awesome. He's got that little enclave of us nestled away over in Pleasure Point in Santa Cruz and chilled and took a look at all the head stuff that he and Matt are working on over there. But I don't know about you guys. Anyone in California that's listening to my voice right now, if you're in Northern California, you know about the epically huge fires that are burning out of control right now. 58,000 plus acres burning actively, 0% contained, 1,500 homes burned to the ground, and this thing is moving and shaking with the winds that are just terrorizing. So, you know, the one thing I want to say about this is that you got to look back and you really got to start living life in the now moment. You stop living for tomorrow or the next day or next month or next year, I'll do this. Fucking do it now, man. People went to bed last night. They have barbecuing, watching football, hanging out with friends and family, going to church, and they woke up this morning and it is burned to the ground. So, guys, please take life by the balls and just really hang on and just make it an epic run because you never know when your shit's going to be over, and that's not a joke. So, on a more of a twist there, Nick came in, swooped in from the rafters on Friday morning and just cowabunged it and just karate chopped the shit out of our Facebook page.
Drop the mic.
Decimation.
If I could drop this mic, I would have dropped it. Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, blew it the fuck up for us. And guys, I'm not kidding. 9,700 likes and followers on our Facebook page. We started with 2,020 on Friday, I want to say. Explosive growth, guys, and the cost was like next to zero in the overall scheme of things. Nick is going to make it happen. He's going to explain a little bit about what he's doing, but a lot about what his program he's offering can do for your business. Matt and I thought he was full of shit on Friday. We're like, he's bullshitting, whatever. Big hat, no cattle. And then he showed up, and Matt and I literally screenshotted each other on Messenger this morning, like, holy shit, dude, check this out. I know, check that out. Pretty awesome. But enough of me chattering away like a drunk squirrel. Nick, welcome, man. Good to see you, my friend.
Guys, thank you. I am happy to say that it's awesome to be here in a doozy of an episode, right? So thanks, Matt. Thanks, Greg. It's really really cool. And stumbling across this epic campaign, I actually titled it in your ads manager as Ninja Engagement, which I thought was pretty accurate.
Clever.
So essentially, we talk about exposure all the time, and you guys' message, like being the digital mayor in your marketplace, is very valid. It's the same thing. That's the reason why we get along, right? Because I've been saying that message even before I met you guys for years now, and it's something that's helped me have, 60% of my business, it comes from my database. And it's just me basically hugging my database online and doing it at a bigger scale. So you always say, what do you do to expand your database? How are you adding to your database on a daily basis? And, through social media is an excellent way, but I see a lot of people doing it the wrong way. And why is it important to have likes on your business page, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about social proof. And, when I first told you guys about this, I know the first question you guys had was, you're like, bullshit, whatever, or what? It's the same excuse, right? So you look on most realtors' pages, and right now I could probably pull up 100 realtors that have maybe 200, 300, 500 likes on your business page, and go to a big brand. Why would it be important that you'd have thousands of likes? So let's say, I'm going up against Greg in a listing presentation from Florida to California, but that's cool. And that customer, I leave the house, let's say I don't get the paper signed, and that customer looks me up and they see my business page has 10,000 likes versus Greg's business page has 2,000. That's a big deal.
Why'd I get the short end of the stick on that?
That's what you started with, so that's what I got to smack you with, right? So it's immediate social proof. It's immediate. People are going to expect that when they want you to be representative of a big brand. You say you work for Keller Williams, and say you work for Berkshire Hathaway, Remax. You're like, I have this big brand exposure, and they go to your specific page, and you claim to be a social media expert, because I know everybody says that in their listing presentation. I have this social media expertise, and you have 300 likes on your page. I'm telling you, it's super important, and this ninja trick will help anybody in any market. We've tested it. I've tested it for the past 2 weeks on several different pages, and it's been gangbusters on every single page.
Yeah, no, it is really, really cool. In 2013, the majority of the consumers would go to the agent's website. And in 2014, I know this is a little bit older, but in 2014, 77% of consumers would go to the agent's Facebook page and check them out. And that's only grown in relevance. So it is really important. And guys, I urge you guys to really take this seriously and take a look at this program and product.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we get into some of the details on how you pulled that off and all that good stuff, there was one question that caught my eye that I want to dive into, because this made me chuckle, made us all chuckle actually before we went live. Orlando Diaz, this is on the lead gen description objections group, says, I had a FSBO tell me that they're doing an open house today from now until 4 p.m. She said call her and she'd meet there while the open house is going on. Does that sound suspicious to you? I didn't even ask for a meeting. She offered this herself without much arm twisting. I've had a few people who just like to have agents drive out for no reason to mess with them. What do you guys think? Greg, what say you?
I mean, if someone has that much of a sense of humor to fuck with agents, and they're like, "Yeah, come on out, totally, man." I mean, honestly, they're like a
you get out there and it looks like it looks like the mansion from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh god, if that happened, I just keep right on going. Yeah. I would send you out there, like, Matt, this is a good house for you and Julie. Go on there and take a look at this one, man. No one's gonna die in this house. But I mean, if they got that big of a sense of humor, come on, you gotta give them props. That's funny shit. But in all honesty, I would really, if they're gonna do something like that, or we suspected that, I would counter them by bringing over the top, massive value to them, so that they kind of feel like a douche at the end of it. If they're trying to be rude to you, you're just like, oh, I'm so sorry, that the blah 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 blah. Here, a huge packet of something or other. This has all the disclosures, the contract, where to look for, best practices, different tips to look out for, negotiating tactics. Here are the best places to post your house to get open houses. Here's how to get it seen by more people. Huge laundry list, right? And you know what? If they're going to be a jerk, they're going to be a jerk. Pat them on the butt, say attaboy, and keep on moving and just forget about them. Lose their number. But you know what? You're going to have a douche in there somewhere, but 99% of the people are not going to be that bad. They're just not.
Is that your key to for sale by owners, is the pat on the butt? That's what I'm missing. I must be missing that.
Cute chick, just you get on over there. That's the secret sauce.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh man, yeah, just like the just like the holder gives the kicker after a successful field goal, just a nice smack on the ass.
Nice and firm. You got to cup the hand just a little bit, though.
Oh yeah, it's very important.
That's
the key to FSBOs. Oh, this is gone down a path.
Spiraling.
But I agree. In this particular case, it is a little odd for FSBO to kind of immediately say, yeah, go ahead and come on over. That to me tells me they don't feel threatened, which means they're not in the place where they're thinking about listing yet, and that's fine. Like if you guys go back and watch the episode that we did with Brandon Mulrennan from I think a couple weeks ago, you can. It's the one where I was unfortunately not hardly involved in the show at all because I was in downtown Denver and had a bad connection. But Brandon was amazing, and the stuff that he had to share about how you how you get FSBOs by essentially it's the Gary Vaynerchuk jab, 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 right hook, except you basically don't hardly have to right hook. All you do is just keep jabbing, and eventually they go, oh, yeah, well, just come on over. Like they're going to list with somebody anyway, and as long as you don't kick them in the shins and call their mom fat, as Greg would say, as long as you don't do that, but you keep in touch with them in a polite, persistent way, and you keep bringing value, you're going to be the first one they think of, because to them, all the other agents are jerks, right? All the other agents tried to smack them in the butt on the way out of the open house.
That's right.
So David writes here in the comments, FSBO stands for friendly spank bottom often.
Wow, you butchered that. Let me repeat.
Yes.
Dave, for us guys, FSBO, friendly spank bottom often. I love it. That's fantastic. Okay, so we have nicely handled that, and we've simultaneously given people some of the worst advice I've heard on getting FSBOs ever uttered in the history of real estate coaching or consulting.
But if it works, it's not bad. Little uncouth, but it might work. You never know.
Yeah.
All right, Greg. I'm going to take you to a certain area of San Diego called Hillcrest, where you may actually be able to get away with going into a FSBO and giving somebody a nice smack on the butt, and they may actually want you to list their house at that point. I'm just saying.
I'm not even going down that rabbit hole. Okay, moving forward.
All right. So, Gregory, what did you do this weekend? We have to recap this real quick.
Hung out with your dumbass. You and I got to, both go over to Christine's open house and surprise her and hang out with her. I forced her to do a Facebook Live where after the fact she said that she was incredibly nervous and her mouth went completely dry, which I thought she did a fantastic job talking about her new property or new listing. Too. I didn't see any jitterishness in her body or in her speaking patterns, but Christine, Good open house. Good to meet you in person. Guys, we want to meet you in person. So if there's opportunities to meet you, please do so. We would love to do that more. Oh, I always forget this. Always go give us a like and a recommendation on iTunes, guys. We need more of those 5-star reviews on iTunes. Let's see, hung out with you and then hung out with Chris. And then on Sunday, I was supposed to hang out with the Chen face, the Lily. But she is flat on her back, like in death's door sick. She's fighting through it, but, I just kind of relaxed. And then I was woken up by a tremendous windstorm of smoke from the fires up north, where I literally was covering my head under my blanket, trying to make the smoke go away. My lungs have been hurting me all day. So it's been an interesting 48 hours, but a lot of fun. That's what I did this weekend.
Yeah. That's been fun. And that was interesting, the whole experience with Christina, the Facebook Live and all that good stuff, guys. So if you want to watch that, go back on Greg's Facebook channel, his personal profile, and you can watch that. But yeah, it's interesting that I don't think Christine thought that she did a good job, but she did a fantastic job, especially for like just literally being like thrown on the spot. But most people in that situation, if it wasn't Greg and he didn't whip out his own phone and say, hey, we're going live right now, they would never have done it, and they would have never known, right? They would have never known, number one, how easy it is. Number two, how fun it can be when you're actually, when you're doing it and you're getting that feedback and you're getting the interaction, you're getting comments, and you can, welcome people into the live video and stuff like that. It's unfortunate, and we're trying to change that, right? So actually, Greg and I need to do some recording, hopefully after this. We're putting together a little video series on the definitive way to do Facebook Live, the way that we do it, and the way that we encourage agents to do it. We're putting that into like a free video series that we'll get out to you guys, and we want to have that ready by the time we speak in San Diego tomorrow. Because I think it's one of those things that freaks people out. I don't know quite why, because I'm not anywhere near, I would say, as extroverted as Greg is, and it doesn't bother me. So if it doesn't bother me, it shouldn't bother you. We've gotten so used to it over the time. Nick, give me your feelings on it. If you're holding an open house, is there anything that stops you from just picking up the phone and going Facebook Live and knocking out a quick video where you point out the features of the house?
Yeah. So backing up on the open house part, and this is something that I preach inside the group, realestatemarketingrockstars.com, selfish plug. We got some good stuff going on in there. Greg and Matt are also included in that. But one thing that you should be doing for every open house, I think personally, is creating an event inside Facebook, number one. Once you create an event, just like you'd have a birthday party for your kids or whatever, create that event, and everybody that you know will see that you're working, and they might show up. How about that for a novel idea? It is an event, so why not have it posted and shown to everybody? you're working, you're doing something, and you got this cool thing going on. As far as the Facebook Live, I definitely am amazed, and I think because people don't necessarily get it yet still, the reach and what you can actually do. And the idea that you can actually turn your phone on and everybody in your friends list is notified that you're somewhere doing something and they have to turn it off or scroll past it. I mean, that's extremely, extremely powerful. We talk about organic reach and SEO and stuff and website design, and there's some people that say that organic is dead in Facebook because they want you to pay, but that's like what organic used to be when it first started, right? You have that reach immediately and people's attention. I think what happens is, you're afraid to not be able to take the words back. So you're on record. Even though you can go back and delete that post right away if you wanted to, it's that fear of being on record with your words, I think, is the first hurdle to overcome with someone from being on video. Because, if I look stupid for that 1 millisecond and 10 of my friends see it, it'll be so embarrassing. Meanwhile, that person is taking their shirt off at a party and dumping tequila on their face. But, I mean, you see what I'm saying? It's just, there's a little difference. For some reason, when that camera light comes on, and it took me a little while to get comfortable in front of video. I mean, it's definitely something you have to work on. I usually encourage people to record stuff first, because if you do nothing but record yourself on a daily basis, right? Just the fact of you pressing that button, your heart starts beating a little bit faster when you press a button, your voice gets a little bit timid, right? And you do that over and over again, all of a sudden you realize a week, 2 weeks, just those little recorded videos, you'll get more confident. Then maybe in a month, once you go live, it won't be such a big deal, because you're used to looking at that camera, you're used to recording yourself, you're used to hearing the words come out of your mouth, and being like a presenter. So I always tell people to start recording first, because you don't have to broadcast everything you record. Right, that's the trick.
Yep.
Once you go live,
that's actually something. That's actually something we teach inside of Get Now Business, is the idea that you can go and, like you said, Nick, you can record videos, but you can actually also go Facebook Live, but only to yourself.
And practice, yeah, absolutely.
And practice going live, right? So you can record videos, or you can actually do a dry run of a real Facebook Live and get the feel of what it's like to 3, 2, 1, go, right? And then you're on, but it's only broadcasting to yourself, so you can just go back and delete it and nobody will ever see it. And because I think, for some people, you have to get your feet wet, and you just have to see for yourself that it's fear. It's false evidence appearing real. It's not anywhere near as bad as you think it's going to be. So there was a really good point, though. Dave Fresquez brings it up. I like the premise, talking about Facebook Live from an open house, but you have to be careful of personal belongings and artwork when going live. Not everyone watching is looking to buy, but to rob. Greg, how would you deal with that? Number one, that fear of going Facebook Live for that reason, and then is there other ways that you can compensate for that by dealing with the seller and making sure that stuff isn't in the house to begin with when you're trying to market the property?
Well, Dave's got a point. I mean, I'm not going to take that away from him in the slightest. And I mean, I definitely agree that if you're in a higher end home, or any home, it doesn't need to be high end or low end, but, always check with the homeowner. Say, hey, look, do you mind if we go live here? We're trying to promote your property. I mean, we asked our $5 million listing, and they agreed to it without a doubt. But Dave does have a good point. Maybe some people don't want to show pictures of their kids, which is understandable. My sister won't show any photos of her 4 kids on Facebook, only on Instagram, only in protected circumstances. So, I mean, I get it. I truly get it. But for the most parts, it's just going to be another crutch for you not to go live, and for you to give yourself an out and be like, oh, well, I'm sure my people wouldn't want me to go live anyways, right? And so be careful of falling into that pit or to that belief pattern of you going, oh, well, this, they won't like me to go live. Look, if it comes down to that and they don't want you to be shooting in their house, go shoot out in the front, guys. Go shoot in front of the home, make it a shorter Facebook Live, show the neighborhood, do that type of a thing. Nobody's going to be upset about you shooting the front of the property, or shooting maybe in the backyard, showing great views from, whatever is going to be, or this killer barbecue pit. Go sit back there and pretend like you're drinking a beer. Like get the emotions running in people. So there's multiple different workarounds when it comes to that. So don't let that hold you back, please, guys. I mean, it's a lot of fun. People will engage with you. They want to see behind the kimono. They want to understand more about the property. They want to have you tell a story about the property. So if you can't shoot inside, shoot outside, or if it comes down to it, shoot on the fucking corner of the street somewhere where the home isn't even in the background photo, but talk about the neighborhood and give it some context, give the people idea of who lives there, what type of people are there, what are their ethnicities, what are their languages, what are their occupations, all of these different things. That would be a great way to start. So there's a workaround on that.
Cool.
Nick, what about you, man?
Yeah, as far as the luxury listings are concerned, I don't know about you guys. Any of the million-plus houses that we have here, we're in a little bit different market. Obviously, we don't have the huge $5-10 million listings that are common, but anything that we've had that's over $1 million, that we've had any kind of videos or traction or Facebook Live or anything. The interesting part is those homes are usually second homes for those people. And at least in my personal experience, so they didn't necessarily have a lot of valuables inside of them to steal because they were vacation homes or second homes, because we live more in a vacation market. Obviously, California is too, but my personal experience, I haven't really necessarily thought or dealt with that. And going back to the live, I want to stress that it is, the reach is there, and you can boost after the fact and run it as an ad and do all that stuff. But it's really just getting your face in front of the people that you already know, right? And you guys just experienced this. Now you have almost 10,000 people that like your business page. So now there might be a little bit of a differentiation because you have some people on there that they've never seen you yet because it happens so fast. But normally the people that like your business page or that like your page are people you don't necessarily have to worry about them coming and trying to steal shit, would be my response.
Yeah, and Dave has a good comment. One last comment, then I'll shut up, which is funny. You can also air, thank you, David, appreciate it. You can also air pre-recorded videos as live, which is true. So you can have an edited, polished video and look live, or you can do a live from the day you listed the property and had all their stuff taken down, and then they can go put it all back up. You can air that video as, quote, live. So there's another couple questions that I wanted to get to, but Nick, before you have to jump off, I want to make sure that we've got plenty of time for you, because the big thing about this particular episode, and I know why people are watching and joining us live and will be listening after the fact, is they're curious about taking how you took our Facebook page from 2,000 to almost 10,000 likes, essentially over a weekend. I mean, we talked about this on Friday morning. We gave you a very nominal budget. We essentially said hey, go scrape a couple nickels together and go do it. And you did it. So you had the idea. I just walk people through a little bit about how that works, and then we'll get into how they can connect with you to learn a little bit more.
Okay, so the first thing I would want to say, because just like you guys, your first response when I said, hey, what would you think about me running a test on your business page to get 5,000 likes? Your first response is, well, are they shit likes, right?
Right.
So my question to you is, what is a shit like, and why would any like be a shit like? Mm-hmm. And your response was, well, I don't know.
When it comes to social proof, I was going to say, when it comes to social proof, there is no shit like, because they look at it and go, oh, there's 10,000 likes on this page. It must be legitimate. We had the same exact thought. We talk about this in Getting Out Business. We picked out a Facebook page, a Facebook group, a local group from a neighborhood down in Southern California. Has almost 1,000 likes in the group. Instantaneously, your first reaction is, oh, this is legit. Yep. We actually had to dig into it, found out it wasn't legit, and then we break that down in the course about how you should be doing it and how you can do it correctly. But it fooled us, right? I mean, my first impression of that group was that it was legit. So in those terms, it's not. We're talking about later on if you want to have more engagement, right? And that's when it comes down to the content that you put on that group, that page.
So, and I don't want to necessarily think I'm fooling people. You mentioned the word fool, and this isn't necessarily fooling people, but I want you to kind of wrap your head around a concept real quick, in the fact that we talk about real estate as being hyper local, and usually when we advertise, to get specific buyers or sellers, we want a hyper local market, meaning I'm in Tampa, Florida. It might even be to the subdivision level where I would target people and a mile around my specific house or what have you. So our mindset usually in advertising is hyper local to get that online lead, if you will, or that person, that conversation. What people don't necessarily realize is that Facebook is a worldwide brand. Okay. I did this in my group, the training on Friday, where we talked about why is Facebook changing? Why are they evolving? Why are certain things happening to the platform? And the pure fact is they've grown at such an exponential rate and a growth rate that they're just trying to keep up, right? It would be that the same growth that they've had in the first 10 years, and this was an example, might not even be justice or not, but to say how much Facebook's grown in 10 years would be like if you were a brand new agent and you just got your license yesterday, and today you signed 100 listing agreements. You would lose your fucking mind. You wouldn't have any idea what to do or how. So that's kind of the progression, right? There's so many people. There's 2 billion active users, right? And you can't even wrap your head around that if you wanted to, right? So
why does that make a difference to a Facebook page, and why would you want people in other parts of the country or even around the world to like your local real estate page?
So what happens with Facebook, and what we're finding is as advertisers, I am a real estate agent. I'm a practicing real estate agent, but I do have a marketing company. I help other agents. I kind of bridge the gap because I have a marketing mind, but I'm also an agent. So I understand the marketing side, but I also understand the real estate side. So it's kind of a unique position that I'm in. And basically what I'm finding when I'm running ads for people or running ads for myself, and I don't have specific, I can't say here's a screenshot of exactly A and B, but I've talked to enough people, and my personal experience is the more engagement and the more likes and the more activity that you have on your business page will directly affect your ad cost and cost of customer acquisition in whatever ads that you run. Meaning, if you have a brand new business page and you've never run an ad before, it's going to cost you more to run an ad in your market than it does for me, who has a 4-year track record, 4+ year track record with Facebook. My ads get approved instantly in 10, 20, 30 seconds. If you had a brand new business page, it might take 24 hours to get an ad approved. So there's credibility from the Facebook side of things. And if Facebook's goal, they're literally flying drones and satellites and giving people in other parts of the world internet access. The only internet that these people see is a Facebook app. They don't know what internet is. They just know Facebook.
Wow.
Okay. So when you get to that audience size, when you can get people from all across the world to like what you have to say, and they engage, because guess what? A beautiful kitchen in Tampa, Florida will be engaging to someone in Australia, will be engaging to someone in another part of the world. It's content that people like to see. It's not necessarily just has to be hyper local. So this campaign is a perfect example of that. I will be showing everyone exactly how to go wide first, and then once you, what I call like season an ad, once you have an ad that works and you run it, for this one, it's because it's so explosive, it actually works in 3 days. But once you actually have that engagement and you get likes for 1 cent, 2 cents at the most, when you switch that to your local market, if you did want to, instead of paying $4 to $5 per like, because I don't know if anybody in the audience, see if they chime in, if they've run a like campaign for specifically their own market or subdivision, it's $3 to $6 for 1 like, right? Where if you have an ad that's running like this,
you're paying $6 essentially for the right. You're paying $3 to $6 for the right for Facebook to show somewhere between 1% and 5% of the posts that you put up there in front of them for free, at least.
Exactly. Yeah, so with this, by having this ad campaign in place, what I'm finding is after now that I've gotten the initial engagement and I've gotten the 5, 7, 8,000 likes in those couple of days, as I transition it to more local, instead of paying $2, $3, $5 per like, I'm paying 75 cents, maybe $1, maybe $1.10. So it's still at the hyper local level. It's still relatively cheap because Facebook rewards you for having engagement. It rewards you for having a good ad. Once you throw that good ad out there, they say, this guy knows what he's doing. He gets people that likes what he's got going on. We're going to show it to more people. We're going to give him better ad quality, ad relevance, ad score, all that good stuff. So it's definitely a home run.
So, I mean, for people to get started, Nick, I mean, is there somewhere they can reach out to you? I mean, I don't want them, we got quite a few people watching live. I want them to make sure they can reach out to you very quickly and efficiently so that you can start spreading this goodness. Because I'm honestly dumbfounded by the power of this thing. And, you know, as I was telling you guys, I was mentally masturbating to the idea of what it would cost to get to 100 million likes and follows. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so worth it. So how can they get in touch with you, man?
So right now I'm building a small group. We got about 300 something people in there. It's real estate marketing rock stars. And I've been giving away a lot of, you guys have seen, Greg and Matt are in the group. I post in there daily. I've been trying to do weekly webinars and just stuff that's working in my personal experience and stuff that I teach because I'm in a marketplace in Tampa. So I do trainings for our marketplace on social media. And again, like, I don't ever want to try to come across as like some fucking hotshot guru or anything like that. It's just something that from my personal experience that I know works, and I'm just trying to help more people. When it comes to this specific product, though, I've had kind of two people on my shoulder, right? Because I'm always giving great content and always giving people good advice for free. The only issue that I see with this, if I give this away for free, I feel like every single fucking realtor will have 10,000 likes on their page and it'll lose its relevancy, right? So it won't matter. It'll be the same as everybody having 300. So I am going to have a training. It's going to be a 4-day training. So it literally takes 4 days for this to work. And there's specific things that you have to do each specific day. And these guys can tell you that I was monitoring it throughout the weekend. You can't just set it and let it run. There's a couple things you got to do. So it'll be a 4-day training. I'm going to charge $97 for it. And the only reason I'm doing that, it's not like I'm trying to get rich off of it. It will weed out the people that aren't serious, because if you can't spend $97 on your business, then you don't deserve to have information like this. I don't want to saturate the entire market. I'm not trying to make $1 million off this product, but I want to help the people who are interested. So when I come back on with you guys, I think at the end of this month, I should have all the videos and series set up and ready to go for anybody who's interested. And it will be posted inside of my group, Real Estate Marketing Rockstars.
Guys, I want you to be also
clarify,
very clear about something. We don't make a dime off of this. Matt and I are not taking a cut off of what Nick is pushing. We're not here pushing it for that reason. We're just here because we are so blown away by what it did in one weekend. We know for a fact if any of you guys are interested in doing something, this is the program to do it. Because if you guys, honestly, if you spend $1,000 a month on this thing, you will blow doors on anything Zillow or Truly or any other clown with, peddling something like, I can get you more on Facebook stuff, or I can get you more leads. This will give you the ability to create content and then push it out worldwide and then bring in referrals, just spread the love throughout the entire globe. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome.
So one of the
Alicia
things,
says, sorry, I came in late. Nick, how do we find your site? So it's Real Estate Marketing Rockstars is the name of the group. And I just wanted to clarify for everybody, because it stuck out to me while you were describing it, Nick. It's not a 4-day training in the sense that it's like hours and hours a day for 4 straight days.
No.
It's like one video that, hey, you do this on day 1, do this on day 2, do this on day 3. That's the structure of it.
So this is the structure.
Program.
Yeah. So day 1 is the ad setup.
Mm-hmm. Day
2 is going to be scaling that ad. Day 3 is going to be optimizing that ad. And then day 4 is, okay, I got a shitload of people. Now what do I do?
Oh, God, what do I do? You're the dog that chased the car, and now what do you do when you catch the car?
Right.
And I think that's
and
really
Dave Frasquez has a good question. Like, what's your definition of engagement? Is it comments or is it just likes? And the answer to that is it's both. But Nick, the goal of this is to get, number one, likes on the page, and that's fine. But then the goal is so that when you put out a post, right, into your Facebook page in the future, you've got a much larger audience, so that when you put up something, we're not talking about putting up something that's like an open house in X neighborhood. You're talking about more general stuff that anybody in the world, like you said, like the kitchen looks good, just as good to somebody on the Caspian Sea as it does in Tampa. You get their engagement. Now that could be likes and to a lesser degree comments, but Facebook is going to look at just the likes on that and go, okay, this guy's putting out content that people actually care about. So how about we not only show it to 1%, how about we show it to 20 or 30 or 40% of the people that have liked that page? And so it's shortcutting that. And then, like Nick, you mentioned, you're going to teach people a little bit about what types of content to put out there to take advantage of likes that are all over the world, right? Because if you're posting just stuff that nobody else outside of Tampa would care about, of course you're not going to get any engagement. That defeats the point of the whole thing. So you do have to post some different content.
One thing that I like to say, and I consider myself to be a media company or a marketing person that happens to sell real estate. And I think that's the mindset shift that we have to have. We're so focused on, talking to 100 people and signing the contract, getting the deal. But when it comes to branding, when it comes to, your actual visibility in a marketplace, you're competing with the news, you're competing with politics, you're competing with sports. You are a media company. So what are you publishing? What kind of content are you creating that's going to cut through a lot of that shit that people are going to be interested in seeing, that does kind of slightly have to do with real estate? I'm not saying you have to, be a politician or anything like that, but create content that's good, that's likable, that's engageable. I mean, look at Pinterest. Look how many people that are on Pinterest all day long, just different blog posts and looking. I know my better half, she's on Pinterest constantly. So it really comes down to what kind of content are you creating, and are you going to get a
straight
specific
Kardashian? It's going to all be about my butt.
Yeah.
It's
Oh my
all
God,
gonna be
no.
just
The badonkadonk.
That's
Oh,
right.
Lord.
It's just me, just Matt in yoga pants. That's what I'm gonna call my Facebook
Again, we
page,
come
Matt
back
in
to the
yoga pants.
cupping hand, the hand slap.
That's
That
right.
is
The cupping
such a
hand. It's the
horrible
sound.
picture.
It's the sound of one hand cupping. So Nick,
Just like that, over and over and over. But no, so when Nick, a lot of people are going to wonder like where to go get images. Like so where are some good free places where people can get images without getting their hands slapped? Pinterest is a good place to go, but there's like Pixels, or there's a couple other free places.
It's PEX. Yeah, Pexels. Unsplash is another good one. And then also too, you guys might not realize this, but if you go inside, everybody pretty much has a Gmail account. I hope they do. But if you go inside the Gmail in your apps and you go into slides, like you're creating a slideshow, it's their version of PowerPoint. When you create a PowerPoint, you can actually insert an image. When you go into, this might be over the head of too many people, but when you put in an image in the Google Slides, they have their own royalty-free section. So if you just open up a slide in Google and you go to insert an image, you can search for royalty-free content. And there's a lot of good stuff in there too that not too many people know about.
Oh, that's awesome stuff. I'm posting links. You guys are watching this on Facebook later. If you're listening to iTunes or Stitcher, go to my Facebook page. I'm posting the links right now for Pexels and Unsplash right now, so you can take a look at it. If you want to talk, if you guys want to do content, hold on. If you guys want to do content in real estate that you want to associate with an image, go to realtytimes.com, and you guys can get articles. You can talk about different things about real estate. There's 6 different categories, so you can post literally 6 times a week with new interesting stuff. Go to all kinds of different websites, read articles, barf it back out with an image associated to it. Tug on the heartstrings for the most part. I mean, Matt, you and I were talking about how to go viral, and I talked about how I had purchased my dream car. And gave everybody inspiration. You guys can go do it too, and so on and so forth. Got a huge response. So Matt, break down real quick so that everyone can have this. What is that's kind of super quick, simple, easy method and recipe for going potentially viral out on your business and personal pages?
And I just put something funny. This is what I was going to mention, Greg. There's a book I ran into in the bookstore this weekend called "Read This If You Want to Be Instagram Famous." So I thought I got a kick out of the title. I don't know what's in the book, but I posted the link in the Facebook comments just because it's a funny title.
That's funny.
What I was reading about going viral, and this does not apply to like your very visual mediums like Instagram and Pinterest. So this is something different that you and I were talking about, Greg. But I read something very interesting from a guy that's been studying what it takes to go viral on LinkedIn. And it is like he broke it down to a specific structure, which was personal story, the result, and how do you replicate the results. Right. So I was in X visit, like I lost my job. I couldn't get my shit together. My company folded. I filed for bankruptcy, whatever it is, like some story that just starts out with this gut punching headline. If you guys want to know the master of this, it's James Altucher. Go look him up. He's a podcast host and multi best-selling author. He's an incredible guy, but he is the master at starting out a post or a story with just the most gut-punching, vulnerable opening line, right? So you start with something like that. You tell a very personal, vulnerable story. You tell how you turned it around and what the result was, and then you tell people how they can get the same result. And I've seen this kind of stuff work well on Facebook, not as like an instant article, not as a note, not as any of that junk, just literally just typed out as a Facebook post. There's a guy that runs a really good Facebook group of about 6,000 people called the Coaching Jungle, a guy named Mark Mawhinney, who I've interviewed before on another podcast, who's very, very good at that. And so I know that stuff does work. It's not like I said, it's not a shortcut to being Instagram famous because it's not a visual thing. It's a storytelling thing. So if you're a natural outlet, if you're like me and you know, like I love doing video, that's where my home is on Facebook. But as far as other forms of content, I'd rather write. So LinkedIn and stuff like that, like that's why I was studying that stuff, and it was really good. He gave some very, very good examples of people that are doing very well with it right now. People that went from 0 to tens and tens and tens of thousands of followers on LinkedIn by following that formula.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Quick little side note. I just read an article today, guys. Those of you, since we're talking about Instagram really quickly, they have now moved into having 2 people on an Instagram live video. So if you guys are huge on IG, this might be something really cool for you to start building or continuing to build your brand on Instagram as well. That can then overflow that into Facebook and everything else. So
that's something you can do on Facebook too. I don't know if you guys have experimented with that, but you can invite people into your Facebook Live, which is great for an engagement. So if you got someone that's actually engaging with you, you can invite them right in the chat, and yeah, that's a good way to get some goodwill from people.
Dude, I do that with my buddy Stefan Adika when he's doing calls and I'm doing calls. We push each other. We get on. You know, he's bantering with me. I'm bantering with him. The people that are watching get a crap ton of value out of it because you watch a relatively newer agent, Stefan, who's done an incredibly good job by doing cold calls, and then me doing what I'm putting out there. And Stefan just liked the video, so knuckles to you, homie. And just try those dual live videos. They're pretty fun, and yeah, they're entertaining as hell too. More questions,
Yeah, so
Johnson?
guys, yeah, well, there was a follow-up question for me. I think Alvin Papa said, "What was the name again, Matt?" If you're referring to the guy that talked about how to go viral on LinkedIn, the guy's name is Josh Fechter, Fechter. He runs a Facebook group called, and it's very Gregory of him, Badass Marketers and Founders. So it's BAMF, Badass Marketers. Nick, are you a member of that group?
I am not.
You should be immediately. Yeah. All it is nothing but literally the most badass marketers and growth hackers in Silicon Valley and other places who share nothing but just their best stuff. Cool. It's not a lot of BS. It's not a lot of sales pitches. It's just like, hey, here's the tools I've been working with. So
that's pretty awesome.
All right, guys. There is yeah, you definitely need to. All right. Let's see. So we want to get into a quick question here. So Alicia Springer says, speaking of personal, this is a question for you, Nick. I found people are more interested in my personal page, so I've been marketing my properties on my personal versus biz page. What's your thoughts on that? This is the question we get a lot, and I know we've given our answer. Nick, what do you say?
Yeah, it's always a personal preference. You know, there's a lot of people that say don't have a business page, use one page. I've always been in the camp of have that business page because I'm an advertiser, right? So you can't promote, you can't run ads on your own personal page. So on the other side of the coin, I am also like the digital mayor, like you guys promote, where I'm always talking to my database and doing stuff with my database. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with getting really, really good engagement with your main page or your personal page. The only issue with that is if once you get to a certain level, 5,000 friends, you get cut off. And we were talking about this before too, guys, where you almost have to create a secondary page, or people can just follow you and they can't necessarily be added as your friend and have as much engagement. So there's something to be said for if you're really interested in growing to several thousands of people, to switch that engagement over to a business page. And then you can also obviously advertise, you can retarget, you can do all kinds of ninja stuff with Facebook and the ads manager to get people even more engaged than you can with your personal page.
So Nick, here's a question I have for you. I was at just under 11,000 people following me, 5,000 friends plus another nearly 1,000 people waiting to be friends. And then all of a sudden, about a month ago, I saw my followers are just rolling back significantly. I've lost well over 1,000 plus followers for no reason that I can see. Is there any reason or anything people need to be aware of that maybe I did wrong and I'm getting punished for it on Facebook, or am I just completely abnormal?
I would say you're completely abnormal, first of all, for sure.
I walked into that one. Wow.
To get 1,000 people roll off, it seems very strange to me. I can't say that I've definitely heard that before, but you're like, we go back to engagement. On that personal page, you only get a certain amount of people organically to be able to see your stuff, and it's tough when you're not adding as a friend. When you're just sitting there kind of in purgatory and you're just following somebody, it's not quite the same as being their friend and being able to engage in that one-on-one atmosphere. If you have over 5,000 people, I would recommend creating a fan page. And a fan page is like a business page, only it looks like a personal page. You would have no idea if you were just looking at it in general, but you can run ads to it. You can scale that exponentially so there's no cutoff. And if you're in your beginning stage and you want to grow, if you anticipate to grow, this could be maybe the third page that you have, because, and I don't want to confuse too many people, but you could have a specific business page, and then say you're the type of person that says, I don't necessarily want to bug my people all the time about real estate, but I want to grow with a personal brand instead of my, Keller Williams or Berkshire Hathaway or whatever. You can start that fan page and have like a personal branded that looks like a personal page, but you can do everything you can with a business page.
Yeah, I think that's something we're going to have to work on behind the scenes and get that set up for me, because I don't understand why they're just rolling off, and it sucks. I gave up really caring about it, but I just don't know if I'm doing wrong. That's
Yes,
the only thing that
we can definitely feel the lack of caring. All right, I did want to get to this question. This is Vic's question. I want to make sure we cover this before we end the show. First of all, he says, Nick, Greg, and Matt, all with exclamation points. My 3 favorite guys. I had a question for you, Nick. I want to start a vlog. What's the best / easiest to use editing software for a non-tech guy? Now, Nick, I don't know if you're a big video guy, so I can chime in here too, but what would you recommend for somebody just starting out?
What I would have recommended, which kind of sucks, is the YouTube editor, which is gone now.
It's gone?
It's gone.
Wait,
have you been to YouTube lately?
No. Well, I've seen
they discontinued
his
it.
interface
Nobody
on the
used
back
it.
end, but
It was a really easy.
It was a little wonky.
It was a little. I mean, it wasn't great, but for the purpose of, especially if you had an iPhone. So I don't know if many people know about this. There's an iPhone app called YouTube Director, where you can actually cast videos right onto YouTube, and they have like scenes created. They have everything set up for you to where you can make a really professional looking commercial and kind of edit the whole thing on your cell phone and then publish it live. What I don't know is, now that they've gotten rid of the editor, if that's still a thing. I'm an Android guy, so I don't have that on my phone. It was only available for iPhone or iPad or whatever. But the people that I know that used it said it was really cool. You can create a commercial on the fly, and with all the transitions and everything that you would normally need a fancy editing software for. I'm a bad person to ask for this because I used Adobe Premiere, which is advanced level ninja shit that not too many people get into. So I'm kind of a bad person to say what's an easy entry level. I would have always recommended YouTube Editor.
Yeah, there's another thing you talked about. It was what's the app you were using the other day, Nick? You were talking about
Lumen, Lumen 5. Lumen 5. It's a slideshow creator, but it's based off of, so if you're not good at video, if you don't want to be on video, but you want to have moving slideshow type, you can use it for animated, like say you have an explainer video, there's all kinds of different ways you can use it, but essentially you can take a blog post and turn it into a video in like 5 minutes. So like Greg said, you go to Realty Times, you find an article that you like, you take that URL of that blog post, you throw it into Lumen 5, it'll create a storyboard for you, you can edit it, it'll have royalty-free pictures on the back end, and boom, you got a 30-second video that's extremely shareable with good content in literally like 10 minutes. It's super powerful.
Lumen 5?
Yeah. Lumen 5.
As far as creating, I don't think that quite answers Vic's question, because he's talking about creating a video blog, which I'm assuming is if he wants to do a Casey Neistat style, and I'm not saying the quality level, but essentially it's a talking head. It's not not creating a slideshow. If you're going to do something like that, what I would recommend to get started is you take the video with your phone, you download it onto your Mac or your PC, and you use either iMovie or Windows Movie Maker. Those are the two most basic ones to get started with. iMovie's pretty good. And it's pretty user-friendly to use, and it will get you used to kind of the timeline and just the basic stuff. And then if you wanted to get into real deal editing after that, then you could step up for like $20 a month and get Adobe Premiere Pro, which is what that's what we use to edit the podcast for all of our clients and all that stuff. It's what Viral uses to edit videos for 500 plus clients. And then Caitlin chimes in and says, or you hire a freelance video editor to make you a badass video. Exactly. Caitlin is our friend and has been a producer of the show. And yeah, you can absolutely do that, Vic. You could literally take the footage, let's say you record 5 minutes of footage or whatever for your video blog. You can hire someone on Fiverr for $5 to do a quick editing pass on that, maybe even throw in a quick animated intro, although I don't even really recommend that anymore.
No.
In this day and age, people don't have the patience to sit through like a 5 or 7 second little swirly thing with your logo. Nobody cares. So you could get someone on Fiverr for $5 to do a quick editing pass on that. You do once a week and you spend $20 a month, and there's your video blog. So that's guys, with a lot of this stuff, you just have to be aware of the fact that a lot of these things like video editing and graphic design, and even to a certain extent Facebook ads, especially when it gets more complex, there's better people to do it for you. And experiment for the things that you can do yourself, but then it's going to get pretty quickly to a point, hopefully, where you have enough business to where you're better served, reaching out to clients, negotiating contracts, and then overseeing other people that do it. And so it helps to know it, but you don't have to go super, super deep in it. So Vic, I wouldn't go super deep, just Windows Movie Maker, iMovie. And then there's a couple of apps you can get on your phone where you can just edit the video real quick on your phone too. There's some good ones for that.
Yeah, I got one more thing to chime in too, because, a couple of years ago when I first started focusing on video, I got into it, and it's kind of like, I think it's the progression most people have, right? You shoot a couple videos, you get into it, now you start looking for the next best thing. You start looking for the better camera and the better editing software and all this extra stuff to make you seem more professional. And then what I found is the more organic, the more grimy, the more cell phone type Facebook Live videos that you take with less editing gets way more engagement than the perfect, because I have all the green screen shit, I have all the graphics, I have all that stuff. Any video that I've ever done organically through Facebook Live or from a cell phone, it's gotten way better engagement than any fancy editing, intro, outro, any of that stuff. So
and you're not the only one. Ben McCall, one of the top agents in LA, said the same thing. I was booking him for a podcast, and he said, dude, I have all the latest, greatest everything. He said, I've done the multi-$1,000 video shoots. I've done drone footage. I've done the whole 9 yard. I paid professionals tens of thousands of dollars to come do videos of my listings. He says, what gets the most engagement and the most reaction is when I just take a video on my phone. And that's a multi-million-dollar high-end luxury market. So if it works better for him, you better believe it works better for us.
And you know what? That goes back perfectly to what we were talking about earlier, which it's authenticity, number one, and storytelling, right? Yeah. It's that personal story. It's getting personal. It's having the authenticity. It's not putting yourself on this, platform that you're not. You're just an everyday guy. You're just documenting your journey, and that's huge.
Yeah.
So I checked into the YouTube director for business. It is there. I have it. I just downloaded it. Super easy. Got just like 5 stars across the board. So, if that's the one you're talking about, Nick, yeah, it looks pretty easy to use.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You guys should play with it. I think you'll like it.
All right. And Caitlin says, Greg's Facebook Live home tours are truly the best videos.
I love you.
I don't know why that is, but okay.
That's because I'm entertaining and the houses are good to see. And it's not like, here's the kitchen. It's talking about some epic stuff. I mean, one of my favorite ones I ever did, I found out that some 2 guys that started kind of big in the adult industry in San Francisco, they built this house. And of course I had to talk about that when I was walking through the showers, right? And dude, people got exploded on engagement with that. Even the listing agent, a lady, she thought it was hilarious. She wanted the link. She shared it out to all of her friends. And so don't take yourself too seriously. Have a little bit of fun. Obviously, don't drop F-bombs when you're interviewing other agents and talking about their properties. But I mean, have some fun. Bring personality to the property. That is what people want to see because they don't see it anywhere else. And that's what's will make you stand out.
Yeah. And now there was one last question from Adam Wallace that I wanted to make sure we cover before we shut things down for today. It says, since Google owns YouTube, are you finding YouTube getting way more engagement? And I'm assuming over Facebook. And so I do want to address that real quick. Nick, how do you think of Facebook Live versus, let's say, a YouTube video?
I think Facebook Live is going to crush YouTube video. And the reason that I say that, it again touches back into, a community. YouTube does not have any kind of community. Yes, it's a gigantic search engine, but what Facebook has in spades that YouTube and Google does not have is the community structure. And the more people, the reach, the more, I guess, you can get granular with your message. And there's going to be way less trolls. There's going to be way more content and because you're going to be targeting your message. It's going to be your channel, not that YouTube doesn't have a channel, but it'll be your channel with a following. And YouTube has a following, but it's just not the same. You can't engage, you can't communicate the same as you can on Facebook. And I really think that it's the beginning. That's why I'm pushing Facebook Live. That's why, Matt, you guys have been doing podcasts forever. I'm hitting it hard on the podcast weekly for my market. If I get an opportunity to have a Facebook Watch channel, I'm all about it, because I think it's like the beginning of the internet, but from a Facebook standpoint, because they are going balls deep against YouTube. They want to crush YouTube for sure.
Yeah,
Should.
and they
really should.
they haven't done it yet for past searches. They haven't done it yet for search. So if somebody is if the purpose of your video is to get live engagement, Facebook wins hands down. If your purpose long term is to create a video where people find it because they're looking for stuff about your local area. So for example, if you recorded a video about a specific subdivision, then absolutely you would shoot it and optimize it for YouTube. Right. So yes, you want the engagement. You might actually do it. Like I would recommend 2 completely separate videos, right? Because the type of video that someone would expect to find about a community, about a suburb, about a city, about a whatever on YouTube is completely different from what they will engage with live on Facebook. And they're not going to go, if they're looking for stuff like that, if they decide, hey, I want to move into, the south side of Tampa, and I find this beautiful, glowing suburb called Morningwood. Let's just call it that. So I want to live in the Morningwood subdivision, and they're not going to go to Facebook, and they're not going to type in, the Morningwood subdivision in Tampa.
Really?
They will do that on YouTube.
Yeah. You picked Morningwood?
That's what he got.
I did pick
Oh, wow. Just, of all phrases,
dude, have you seen House Guest? It's an old movie with Sinbad and Phil Hartman.
No. What happened to Sinbad?
Yeah,
Where's he been?
I don't know. He's doing something, but that is one of the greatest movies ever. And at one point, I'm pretty sure Sinbad and Phil Hartman were sitting around, and Sinbad was pretending that he went to the same summer camp as Phil Hartman did when he was younger. And so they proceed to try to improvise and sing together Camp Morningwood's official song together. And Sinbad just improvised.
I wish I was a
It's
new
one of the greatest
construction-
scenes ever.
I wish I was a new construction developer. I would name something Morningwood. That would be a mission for 2018.
I think so. All right, and on that note, oh my God.
It's on the cornering of Morningwood and Papa Tent. That's the intersection they could be at.
All right, this has very, very quickly gone downhill. We have to end it before we get to okay. With the comments back and forth on Facebook Live are just priceless. I love it, guys. Thank you so much for being with us and for commenting and all that stuff. So first of all, Nick, remind people of where they can go to join the group.
realestatemarketingrockstars.com will take you right to the Facebook group, or if you're on Facebook, you can just search for Real Estate Marketing Rockstars.
Very cool. And just so that you know,
for the master there.
That's right. So Nick is going to be back on the show October 25th. That's the exact date. And so by that time, Nick, I think everything will be done and people can get.
Yeah, we'll have some additional testing. So I'll have some more testimonials and stuff. I do have a handful of people that I'm also working with besides you guys, that are testing the product. We just want to make sure it works 100%, because I don't charge people for stuff all the time. So I want to make sure it's 100% awesome, blow your fucking mind if I do. So that's where we're at. But 25th should be buttoned up.
And then something we're going to do is Nick and I, we're going to work together on putting together a fan page for me, fan page for Matt, kind of see how it does for individuals, how it's going to do for the show, I'm going to push it a little bit for our real estate team, so it's going to be on multiple different levels. So you guys see multiple different results. So you guys can decide which path you want to go down. But it's pretty exciting stuff for the nominal amount of money we put towards it, to the responses and reactions that we got from it. I mean, we always talk about, foreign investors from around the world, guys. I can't think of an easier, better way to get in front of people globally with one click. So it's really cool.
All right.
Awesome.
Cool. And then for us, make sure to follow us for now until we get those things set up. Just follow us on Facebook. Do not friend us. We cannot or will not accept your friend requests, depending on who we're talking about. Although feel free to follow Greg from multiple accounts just to make him feel better about those lost followers. And make sure to check out the website. I know it's not a joke. Check out the website, reuncensored.com. That's the easiest way to get there, so you can keep track of all the fun stuff that we're doing. We have officially launched the new website, so you can see it. It's all pretty and lovely, and you have Caitlin to thank for that. Caitlin was commenting here on Facebook. She did an excellent job, as well as our a member of our staff, Leslie, did a ton of back-end coding work on that. So go check out the new website at reuncensored.com. And I think that is about it. We are working on the newest version of Get Now Business for next month. We don't have the landing page updated quite yet, but as we approach November, and we are changing up the structure of that, and we want to dive in a little bit more deeply on you guys with the implementation. So we are in the process of recording all the content so that you get immediate access to all the content, and then our live sessions will be a half hour once a week, and they'll be strictly focused on how to apply and implement what you've learned, rather than us doing the teaching live, so that we can actually dig into your business and help you implement and decide what order, and help hold you accountable and support you as you journey through applying that stuff. So we're changing up the format, so keep that in mind as we approach November. We'll give you more information about that, and you'll be able to sign up for the next round of Get Now Business with that new format. So again, guys, thank you so much. Greg, let's put a nice little bow on this one.
All right, guys, we love you to pieces. As always, we bring this stuff out to you. So please share this with a friend, with a broker, with someone else that you know that needs this content. Matt, I forgot to tell you, I had about 3 or 4 different conversations this morning with people that are reaching out, thanking me, aka the show, for all the content that we're bringing them, and that really how it's helping them transform their real estate business, even to a couple of businesses that haven't even got into the business yet. So thank you, guys. Again, it means the world to us to hear from all of you. Please reaching out. Nick, you're legendary in my book, my friend. We look forward to having you more on the show.
Absolutely.
And for the rest of you guys, peace out, ninjas. We go.